We interrupt our normal broadcast to bring you an exclusive interview happening here on the award-winning station Science TV. My name is Caxton Osozie. My sign language interpreter is Aurelia Ngina. In studio, we are privileged to have an icon. Actually, she is a participant of the African pageantry that was founded in South Africa, and she is also an ambassador to Kenya. Am I right? Sylvya Mochabo, talking about a lady who's gone against all odds to become who she is. Look at her. Amazing. Welcome to the show, Sylvia.
Thank you, Kaka.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
You are a participant of the African pageantry.
Yeah.
And I can see that on your on the ribbon.
Yes.
Or how do we call it?
It's called a sash.
A sash. A sash. All right. And so tell us about the pageantry.
Can you introduce myself?
Yes. Introduction first, yeah.
Okay. Sylvya Mochabo is my name. I am the second born of four.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of four in my family. 3 girls and 1 boy. I am a mother of 3 boys, 2 of whom are on the autistic spectrum. And I can say I attribute everything I've done towards the gift of having special children in my life.
Okay.
Yes. So I grew up like any other child. I was born and raised in Huruma, the first basic life. Then I moved to Kasarani. I went to boarding school in Chogore Girls. After that, I moved to Alliance High School. Then from there, I would say I opted to follow my heart and actually do fine art and graphics, as opposed to medicine. You know, everyone assumes when you go to Alliance, you're supposed to.
Yeah,
actually...
I know.
Yeah, so I decided to follow my heart.
Yeah.
Yes, and that caused a rift in family because my dad really wanted me to do something with medicine because of I did well. I'm not.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So I had to work odd jobs to be able, because he said if you're not doing this, then you gotta sort yourself out. So I started learning the hard way for a long time ago, and I ended up packing soap in the EPZ. After that, I went hawking around town.
Hawking?
Yes, like, you know, the ones who come door to door and you're like, hey, today we have an offer.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm picturing that out.
You're picturing, yeah. Actually, I think that's how I got my resilience and go get, because, you know, you get turned down so many times. It was one of the hardest jobs I have to tell you. It was one of the hardest jobs because you don't know what to expect from every office that you knock onto, if there will be open arms or not. So that was my first two, and then I did that for I think about several months. Then I had enough to start me on college to study graphic design.
Okay.
So I started studying graphic design,
Yeah.
and then I started working. After the first 3 months, I got a scholarship. So that enabled me to gain the very basic skills. Because remember, I had studied fine art from when I was a child all the way to Form 4. So I had the basic skills. So it was just fine-tuning and catching up with what the life had.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So then I worked as an office assistant. That's where I started. So I escalated from office assistant to graphic designer to operations manager. Then I left that company and went to a pretty company, and I quit my job from Elite, where I was working with Apple.
Yeah.
Then I started my own business at that point.
Okay.
So then I've been a business person. I have had failures, of course. I've closed down 2 companies, and then now I'm running Tech Hub Holding.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so, with your pedigree, you've talked about you associating yourself with, you're a parent of 3 and 2 with autistic.
Yeah.
Autism, right?
Yeah.
And now you have your own foundation.
Yes.
You can talk about it.
Yes.
Before we go to the pageantry.
Okay, before we go there, yes. So navigating life of special needs parenting has been pretty hard. Like, I cannot even begin to explain how tough it is trying to understand first what this is, because all you get is like, okay, this is the situation, you have to deal with it. So I had to embrace that, because first it throws you into depression, because every parent wants a perfect child. Every parent wishes for this child to be everything you've dreamt of. My firstborn was okay. So when I gave birth to my second son, I expected the same thing. Oh, start talking by this time, start, walking at this time. Then you see like, why are we not getting there? So it was a bit discouraging. Then that was the inspiration. So my children were my inspiration to start the foundation, because with that, I was like, okay, what difference can I make? So what happens to the next mother? I always say in life, we don't have to always make the same mistakes. So I took that lesson and I was like, okay, let me help other parents navigate the system. Let me try and be a change maker, change in policy, change in healthcare and the education system, because those are the areas that need improvement in our country, and I believe in Africa entirely. So that was the push that led me to start the foundation. And this speaks for special needs persons, because not many people quite understand invisible disabilities. We all assume, okay, disability is because my leg is broken, I'm on a wheelchair and stuff like that, things that we can actually see and relate to it. But actually there is neurodiversity, which is a whole category of disability on its own, as I'd like to call it, deaf-ability, because they're just different.
Yes,
not
ability. I love that.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
Right. So you formed the foundation, and here you are. The foundation is doing well.
Yeah, I could say so. We're achieving the milestones faster than actually I thought it would actually take longer. But looking at the milestones we've been able to achieve, I can say we're doing okay for the goals that we have set for ourselves and for what we want to achieve in this space. Yes, so we're doing okay.
All right. We are in a society where it perceives autism to be, something just different, something that comes from, say, a planet like Mars, something that is very strange. How was the reception as you formed the foundation? How was the reception? How did people perceive that?
Most people actually didn't know that I had an autistic child, because you see, the thing with invisible disabilities is you can see the person, they look normal until you interact with them. So it wasn't when I put it out there, because what I did different instead of just talking about it, I opted to put my children and myself out there. Like, this is what I go through, because sometimes when you see someone is all happy and jolly, you don't know what they're going through in their personal space. So when I put it out there, like, okay, this is what is going on, this is what autism looks like, these are the challenges. So you see, it's more tangible, other than I just come and start talking about it.
Precisely.
Yeah, because I'm speaking of things that I have gone through, the works that I have. I've had parents slide on the DM and they're like, how do you even go about, like, how do you put your kids out there? How do you even accept it? Because as a mother, it's one of the hardest things, yeah? And the challenge of stigma in society also, that's a whole different topic altogether. Yes. So, but yeah, you just decide and you go for it. You just, if you want to be a change maker, you have to do what has not been done before, and that's what I had to do.
Right.
I had to do it different so that it gets home. So that people get to understand what this autism thing that you hear about is. So that if you put a face to it and put character and put words, if you put it all together now, it makes sense. So that next time someone interacts with someone who could be on the spectrum, they understand exactly what it is. Yeah.
All right. Sylvia, you just talked about it, that you quitted, you had to quit your job and to form your own initiative. And now we're talking about your foundation. Who was funding it, and how did you maneuver? And how are you faring on as far as financial, matters are concerned for your foundation?
For the foundation, I'm doing awareness. So I'm seeking partnerships, right? So like my friends, so it's more like social capital. My friends know what it is that I do. they understand the passion behind it, and you can see, like I said, this is what we're dealing with. And funny enough, you will be shocked because the ratio for autism is 1 to 58 right now. So that means everyone we talk about has either a neighbor, a relative, they're touched somehow, but they just don't know it.
Okay.
So now when you do that, that's when it makes sense, like, oh, this is what it is.
Yeah.
So what I did is when I was turning 35, I wanted to make a difference. I had never had a birthday party, so I decided I'm going to have one. Then I was like, that's so big. So it's like, I'm an impact person. So I decided I will launch my foundation then. We're just talking about March. So when I'm telling you all these things that we have done in these few months, I always say it's God's doing, because I cannot explain how all these things fall in place. Like favor has just been following me in terms of being a change maker, doing things and forming partnerships. Because when you knock a door, 80% of the time we go with the mindset like it's a no.
Yeah.
I always say, ask, then if it's denied, at least you have your answer. I say I tried.
You tried.
I tried. Yeah. So,
which is very contrary to what people believe out there. They're afraid of trying.
Yes. Yeah. So you try. But quitting my job was scary, I must say.
Yes.
Because it was good for me because it is what gave me that first risk taking.
Yeah.
I'm a very calculated, careful person. So that was a risk that I took. But in order for me to take care of my child, it had to be done. Because the special needs persons need a lot of time and care and working with them and assistance. So until they get to be independent, they need your support.
Right.
So the only way to do it was I had to quit my job and start a business. And what else to start as what it is that you do every day, what you love doing. So I followed my heart and my passion like I always do.
Right.
And that's why I started it.
Okay. Now let's talk about your company, the Techno Herb.
The Tech Hub.
The
Tech Hub, like
Tech Hub.
technology.
Okay, yeah, Tech Hub. Yes. Talk about it.
Okay, so Tech Hub is a holdings company that has 3 subsidiaries.
Okay.
So in line, it was just a strategic placement where I have one company doing graphic design, brand consulting, and business development. Then I have Tech Hub Enterprises, which handles printing on paper.
Okay.
Then we have tech events, because I found myself in these things were always coming to my desk. Remember I mentioned I had to close down one firm where I had started it as a print house mostly. Okay. So I had to do proper brand positioning. So I had to stop, really internalize everything, reevaluate, and that is what I came up with.
All right. We're talking to Sylvia Bora, who is, she calls herself a change maker, but I call her a Niken. And we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back talking about her, her experience at the African Patent Free. Our SMS line is 20508. If you've got any question or any sentiment, you know where to find us. And so let's take a short break. And welcome back. You're watching an exclusive interview. It's happening here on the award-winning station Science TV. The excitement that is in studio this afternoon, it's just crazy. Sylvia, 35 years. Yeah. Still looking young, sweet 16. What is the secret?
Okay. There is no secret. Let's just say I am so blessed to have been born of my mother and my father.
Yes.
And of course, we always give props to mommy. I look like my mom and maintain. Usually, we are all not big and maintain. But the other side of it, like you had all, I already told you all the things that I'm handling. That keeps you going. And remember, I said my boys are a blessing.
Yes.
Running after a child with ADHD is gym enough. Wildlife, that is a gym enough.
And you just told us that your firstborn is 13 years old.
Yes. So
guys out there can't believe this.
Yes, my firstborn is 13 years.
Yeah.
My secondborn turns 9 on 29. So actually that's something good, because for his birthday what we're doing, we're going to Total Rehab, which is a children's home for autistic and special needs children, to just give back, to give back to society. And I like instilling the giving back notion to all of them, like service above self. Yes, it's his birthday, he should be receiving, but I'd rather that he be the one giving. So that's we're doing on the 28th.
Okay.
And then my last born, Bradley, is 7.5.
7.5.
Yeah.
Is there a story, Sylvia, that we need to know now that you are a single mom and still out there flying high with beauty?
I was married for 6 years.
Okay.
I was married, so all my children were born within my time that I was in my marriage. We divorced in 2012. I remember it's not an easy journey, but yeah, when I left, my child was 3 weeks old. The one who's turning 7.5. So I've been single for the past that long, 7 years. Yeah, so which is okay.
Okay.
Because you see what does that? Sometimes God has a purpose for your life.
Yes.
You might not know it at the time. For us, when we're living now, you either say, this is wrong, this is not right, this is not what I wanted. But God knows why the things happen in our lives, the things. There's always a reason and a purpose as to why it happened. Because you can imagine if I was still married, I wouldn't have the will to going out there, doing all these things. So it pushes you.
Okay.
These hardships that we go through, it pushes you to the next level. So you're able to go for it. Any opportunity you get, you just put yourself out there and try. Because you know there is no turning back. You can't say at the end of the day, I'll go back to my parents. For me, I know, even in my lowest of moments, the days I knew I only had one meal a day, I couldn't go back because of also the values that my parents instilled in me, like independence, self-sustaining, and that integrity of living up to your word and all these things. So those are the things that you apply in life.
Okay.
So all these issues that happen, you either sit and wallow. I opted to use them as stepping stones to take me to where I am right now.
Okay, okay. Do you have an inspiration that like maybe someday you will get married and have someone around you and support you in your dreams?
I'm being very intentional in my life. If I find the right person.
What do you mean the right person?
The right person, because I have expectations. There is where I am in life right now. You see? You see that the Bible says you need to be equally yoked.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So unless I find the other oxen that we can actually be equally yoked, and when you're at peace. Because at my point in life, what I value the most is happiness, peace, my children, acceptance of my children the way they are, and I still hope to give birth to a girl. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
okay. I can grasp that. And so, Colin, who is one of our audience here, was asking you earlier on, how do you maneuver with your schedule every day now that you're handling so much, or it's not too much for you?
There's something called order and planning. So when you plan yourself, I know what I'm going into. I know when I took up the title, I know what it means. When I accepted my nomination in Rotary as a public image coordinator, I knew what I was getting myself in. I have my business running, and when I'm getting into this is because I know where I am. I knew my business is at a point that I am molding my team to be independent. You see? So I'm empowering them to be able to run even in my absence. I can direct. That's why I call directors.
Yes.
You don't want to always be there watching, but you know everything that's going on. So that gives me time, and whatever it is I get into, I communicate to my team. They understand I need to do this. So we are like one family. So they are team players. So that means if I say today I'm going here and I'm going there, they will work my schedule to make sure that, okay, I have access to be able to handle what I need to handle. If they need to pick something off my plate, they assist that. So they're like part of my family. They understand my children when I bring them to the office. They know it needs that extra attention. I'll give you an example. 1 week ago, my son was in HDU. All it takes is telling them like, okay, cancel everything, this and this has happened. Even if they are going through what, unless it's a worst case scenario, is when they will reach out. So they give you that space that you need to handle what it is that you're handling. Same case applies to them. It's about communication. You tell me I need the space, I give you this space.
Okay, that's
So
very
we
true.
respect. We are all human. I
Yeah.
expect this from them. They expect something from me.
Mm.
So if you work as a team, it is very easy to be able to do all of this.
Mm.
Partnership is one of the key things I work with in life because it helps you in very many ways.
All right, and let us talk about the pageantry. How did you find yourself there, and what does it entail?
Okay. When I was a girl, you know, we all have that like, oh my God, what crazy, you know?
Yeah, you want to be a model.
No,
Want to
okay.
be a model.
After,
Yeah.
I would like, it's not something that I've always said. Like I've not said it was like what I. It's one of those days I was watching. I think it was after Form 4. When I joined Form 1 in Alliance, actually we have something called a talent show. Like how you get initiated into school. So you either have to sing, dance, poetry, just do something. I just did that. Like, you know, that time you're discovering yourself when you're like 13, 14, when you join high school. So I did modeling. That was, as in like, I just picked 2 dresses, walked down the runway, and that was it. That was like, and I hung the boots. After Form 4, you know, now everyone keeps telling you, you should try this, you should try that. Then I watched Miss World and I was like, wow, you know? And I was like, I'd love to do that.
Yes.
Then I tried. Then I was so shut down. I tell you, I was shattered, and that story ended there. So I tried doing modeling gigs. You know, there is a specific, you have to be 5'7". I'm 5'6". So that dream, I hung the boots. So then, of course, then I got married. I got my kids. So, of course, I dropped that. Then later on, now after this other life we spoke about, a friend of mine, that's why they say friends can either build you or break you down. I like the friends I have, my inner circle, because they make you better. So actually my friend pushed me to this. She was like, we were doing a promo for something we call Sunshine Rally for Rotary, the one for special needs persons, physical and mental. So she was like, so we were goofing around taking photos. She asked me, have you ever thought of modeling? I'm like, look at me, my age. I have babies. Of course, I don't qualify. Then she's like, no. Actually, I think there is one. A friend of ours, I think, went for the Mrs. pageant, and I'm like, Mrs., I'm not married. Like I gave all the excuses you can think about. Then she was like, no, you know what? You should talk to her. Here is her number. 3 days later, she's called someone's like, did you call her? I'm like, no. She's like, I'm calling her. So she called that one that called me. Then she's like, I will need feedback in the morning that was okay. So you see, sometimes in life you need that extra push. So it's a dream. Sometimes we give up on our dreams and pack them aside because of what people spoke into our lives. Yeah. So because someone told me I was not tall enough, short enough, so it's something I had packed. So, but the good thing is, what this allowed me was for me to grow and thrive and get to a point I know who I am. I understand what I want to be, where I'm going as a woman, and now I think I'm better placed. It is the right time that God intended for me to do this. Yes. So I sent my application. We called, I met up with her for breakfast. She's called Lucy. We met up with Lucy. I asked her what it is. Then I asked her, do you need to show your marriage certificate? Because she had done the basis. So then she was like, I think there is room for because here I am single, I am divorced, I have children. So everything wrong with pageantry and walking the runway. So all these were the excuses I went into that meeting with. So she just picked the call and called SA. So the head of the pageantry in South Africa is called Pageants Africa South Africa. In South Africa, she's called Mrs. Caroline Boulder. So Carol responded very fast. She's like, no. We have different categories. So you have the Miss, which is the regular. You have the Mrs. This is for people who are married. Then you have MS, the one I'm in. So you could have just had a child out of wedlock. Yeah. So it also goes with age. So if your Mrs. between from 30 to 40, 45, then you could be a Miss that is up until 30, and then maybe you have a child. Those are the things that disqualify you from participating in the Miss World. Yeah? So now this is like a second chance in life. So for me, that was it. This dream that I had that had gone down, this was the it for me. So I asked her, she told me, okay, you're qualified for the MS, Miss Elite. So that's the elite section. Because we also have actually ladies who are above 45, between 45, 50 and above. That is the Mrs. Classic. So you see, in life, women go through different phases. So it gives you an opportunity to actually put yourself together, because it is not always about beauty, how you look like. It's not about your size. So it can be all of these things. The one thing though across all of us in the pageant is that we are up to what our purpose in life is. About the journey in your life. You're at a point where you need to walk what God wants you to do. So it's about giving back to society.
Okay.
It's about making a difference.
About making a difference.
Yes. And changing the society, the community. What impact are you going to bring on the table? So it's not about, I'm not actually doing this about me.
Yes.
For me, the cause that I am bringing forth, like I say, because of my history, I am going to be championing for special needs children.
Yeah.
And the neurodiverse community, because most of the neurodiverse persons don't have speech. So who speaks on their behalf? So I want to be the spokesperson to speak on their behalf. The things that they go through, the policy making, you know, if they cannot sit on the table, unless it's a parent who understands, or a relative, or someone who's actually walked this journey, no one else can represent you better. And you know, this is not a Kenya problem. It's a continental problem. So for me, the pageantry was actually a platform to echo the same, like, hey, Africa, these things are there. Let's stop hiding and saying that, oh, it's a curse, oh, you did this, that's why, because your child is like this. Those are excuses. Let's face the fact head on. Let us have inclusion. Because when you put my child aside, they did not choose to be born that way. Right?
I get you.
Being different is not their fault. Neither is it my fault as a parent. It is God, what God decided. Like, this child is a special child. Because they have their own purpose being in the world. It's like, you see that autism side is always a puzzle, right?
Yeah.
The same way in the world, you have different pieces. And you have what you have, I have what I have. We will bring our efforts together. That's the only way we make a difference in society.
Yeah.
So it's that's what I want us to do. I want us to change our perception about special children. Let us have the notion that embrace difference. They're just going through developmental challenges. They will get there. All we need is to include them and integrate them into the system and have them in everything that we think about. Let us have them be part of it. That's the only way we can move forward.
All right, Sylvia, you're talking about you know, how you got into the pageantry, and you know, the people out there who reckon that it's about beauty, it's about the looks. But you see, what you're trying to say here, it's about purpose.
Yes.
Talk about it. Like, is beauty one of the things that made you be there? Because everyone can see that you are beautiful, and you're talking about you being 35, and you know, as beautiful as you look, and you know, people are like, no, she's not 35.
She is.
And so that's what made her qualify for the pageantry.
No, what's your definition of beauty? Ask yourself that. I believe beauty is inside and out.
You know, that the idea of looking young and...
No, it's not about that, like I said. It's not about, oh, because I have a tiny waist, I am tall and balanced. It's not about that. We actually have plus size ladies on it, curvy ladies. We are Africans. I cannot starve myself so that I can be like Sylvia. We are talking about inclusion and embracing everyone and having purpose. Just because I'm big, that doesn't mean I cannot be a change maker in society. It doesn't mean I am not beautiful. If I'm light skinned, dark skinned, I'm still beautiful in my own skin. So it does not discriminate that, oh, you have to be this height, you have to be this big. No, it's not about that. It's about, what are you doing to make this world a better place?
Wow.
What change are you bringing? Yeah. So the others is a plus. And actually, in my journey, to actually how it is being judged, finally, apart from the votes, like for popularity, I'll pitch a bit. Like, if you'd like to vote for me to win, you'd go on my Facebook page, Miss Sylvia Mochabo. All right, and then there is a post that has been pinned. You like it, yeah. That is one way. That's for Face of Africa. There are all these other attributes that are there, and all other. We have an SMS code also for foundation. And remember, when we are voting, even in your voting, you're not just voting for the sake of it. You're contributing towards something, because when you vote, that payment you're giving, like if it's one SMS is 20 shillings, that money is being put together and it's going to the Africa Queens Foundation. I'll give you an example of one of the changes that we made.
Yes.
When whatever happened in Mozambique, we, the Africa Queen Foundation, went all the way to Mozambique to give relief. They took books for children, they took clothes, they took tents. You see, these are basic needs. So it's not just because it's based in South Africa that it is an SA thing. We're all speaking in one voice as Africa.
Oh, as Africa.
As Africa. So even here in Kenya, if there was some needs, then I would go and just tell Madam Carol, there is this need that's needed in Kenya. So could we as a foundation make the difference? Yeah. So as we are voting, we are also contributing towards the impact and the change in our society. Yeah. So that's the general gist.
All right. I'm getting an SMS here from Shiko who tells me, Sylvya has talked about phone call contacting South Africa directly through phone call. Ask her, did she get that position out of a phone call, or it was a context? Yeah.
Okay. So there is a difference between, I'd mentioned this earlier, there's a difference between pageantry and runway. Because it's about giving, you have to be intentional. You have to be ready to put yourself out there, all right? So of course you have to apply. So because my friend saw there is something in me, and she's the one who nudged me to apply, right? So I reached out to know if I qualify. I was sent for the application. I filled the application. And the other thing that people don't know is there is a cost implication. All this awareness that I'm doing it from me. Like we went to South Africa for the crowning, for the sashing ceremony. I paid that out of my pocket. So now that's where now like friends and guardian angels and all these things come through. Because you see, you have to be ready to sacrifice the time. So those are the questions that you're asked. So before they say yes, you have to really be certain that you can do this, you know what you're getting yourself into. Remember we've said, it's not just because you're pretty and you look good. So you also have to have your why. You will be asked, actually it's like a 10-page questionnaire. 10 pages. So you have to really know why you're getting into this, because you're supposed to go there with the right intention and with your heart in the right place.
All right.
Yes.
My name is Rosie. I'm watching you from Embakasi.